Dear colleagues, I am thankful for this opportunity to present your current opinion on change of direction speed in volleyball and to participate at an international scientific conference, Novelties in Sports Sciences. My name is Suncica Pocek, and I am Associate Professor at University of Novi Sad, Faculty of Sport and Physical Education. Volleyball team sport in which elite volleyball players possess high level of technical proficiency that allows player to be fully efficient in game settings in terms of kinanthropometric profile potential. Motor abilities that are of great importance in volleyball are vertical jump ability, agility, power, and speed. Time of contact with the ball is limited to a fraction of a second, and the vast majority of actions in volleyball are undertaken without the ball. Speed of a hit and ball, size of a court, and limited ball contact are challenging for player to perform basic skill in a constantly changing environment. In a limited time, players should be able to perceive key actions on the court, make a decision, and act in quick and agile manner. In order to do so, there is a need for a rapid whole body movement with change of velocity or direction in response to a stimulus, as Shepard and Young proposed. Volleyball involves some straight sprinting of about 5 and 10 meter distances, rarely longer, but more often repeated short sprinting with changes of direction. The total cover distance by a player during a top-level match depends on factors such as the number of played sets, a player's function on the court, area of the court, set scores, the number and duration of individual rallies, and number of type of actions in a rally. In one excellent example of time and motion analysis by Pocek et al., we can see that the analysis of total distance covered by volleyball players during a match, set, and rally showed a mean distance of 1,757 meters in a 4-set match, 423 to 446 meters in a set, and 11 meters during a rally. So whether it's about pre-planned or reactive activity, both change of direction speed and perceptual and decision-making factors, which are contained in agility, are of great importance of volleyball. On this slide, we can see the deterministic model proposed by Young et al. From 2002 and Shepard and Young from 2006. And we can see that agility is comprised from perceptual and decision-making factors and change of direction speed, which is of special interest in current topic. Subsequently, change of direction speed is composed from technique, straight sprinting speed, leg muscle qualities, and anthropometry. Young et al. Included the term change of direction speed, not only as a component of agility, but also to describe and accentuate movement wherein no reaction to a stimulus is required. In other words, change of direction ability can be described as a movement where no immediate reaction to a stimulus is required, thus the direction change is pre-planned. Some conditioning exercises could be classified as change of direction speed exercises, sprints with changes of direction, while others could be classified as agility, sprints with directional changes in response to a stimulus. The ability to sprint repeatedly and change direction while sprinting is a determinant of sport performance in field and court sports, as evidenced by time and motion analysis, validation of testing batteries for elite and non-elite performers, and coaching analysis for sports such as volleyball, basketball, soccer, handball, college-age athletes from various sports, Australian football, team sport athletes, and rugby. There is a great deal of variety in the type and number of assessments that have been used to assess change of direction speed ability, Many different tests have been used to assess change of direction performance, and more are continually being developed in order for research to assess the specific demands of the sport for which they are used. We have two examples of authors, Brugelli et al. And Nymphius et al. That wrote a fantastic review articles on current topic, specifically change of direction speed. So Brugelli et al. Classified each test of change of direction into three areas: by energetic requirements, type of force application, and number of changes of direction. Similarly, classified change of direction tests according to number of direction changes, approximate time to complete test, total distance, and estimated angle of direction change. We can see on this slide tests according to Brugelli and their criteria, and similarly Nymphius et al. A broad range of tests, and we can see range in number of direction changes, approximate time to complete tests, total distance in meters, and estimated angle of direction change. It is important to mention that change of direction speed can be task specific, and coaches must interpret this quality within the context of the assessment utilized. As we speak on volleyball is a team sport with highly specific tasks and responsibilities for each player on the court according to player position. Team in volleyball is composed of 5 hitters, namely an opposite hitter, 2 outside hitters, 2 middle blockers, and 1 player in charge of the organization of the game, the setter. The 7th player on the court is a specialist defensive player who replaces the middle blocker in serve reception and defense responsibilities. All of them have highly specific and precise tasks which can be seen on this slide. For example, first of all, in columns are represented players' position, such as setter, opposite, middle blocker, outside hitter, and libero. And in rows, we have basic skills: serve, serve reception, setting, spike, block, and backcourt defense. When we see this table, it should be mentioned that all of the players except libero perform serve. In volleyball, serve reception is performed by 2 outside hitters and libero player. Setting is performed by setter from ideal zone between 2 and 3, and setter can be helped by middle blocker and libero player in situations when first contact is performed by setter, for example, from backcourt defense. But in every situation when it is possible, setter performs setting because of his efficacy in performing this skill. Spike, main spiker or main scorer in every team is opposite player. He performs spike from zone 2 from front line or front court, and zone 1 from back court. There is an exception from rotation 1 when setter is positioned in zone 1, when he will spike from zone 4. Outside hitter performs spike from zone 4 when he's based in front court, and zone 6 when positioned in back court, except from rotation 1 when he will perform spike that outside hitter, 1 of 2, who is positioned in front court, he will perform spike from zone 2. Opposite hitter is also called right side hitter, and outside hitter is also called left side hitter because of the zones from which, or sides on the court from which they performed mostly spike. Setter does not perform spike, but he is allowed to in situations of rotation 4, 5, and 6 when he's positioned in 4, 3, and 2 zones, 4, 3, and 2, mostly that situation is not reserved for spike, but he can, from the first line when positioned in front court, to perform that action. Middle blocker spikes from zone 3, and libero, of course, doesn't spike. In block or performing block, main blocker is middle blocker, who performs a block from zone 3 and double from zone 4 and 2. Also, he can perform players triple block in some tactical situations. Setter performs block from zone 2, opposite from zone 2, and outside from zone 4. Exception is rotation 1, setter position in zone 1 as an answer to counteract of opponent. Opposite would stay in zone 4 and perform block from zone 4, and outside hitter would perform block from zone 2. Libero doesn't block, and we have last skill backcourt defense, where setter and opposite player are positioned diagonally, and they perform backcourt defense from zone 1 when positioned backcourt. Middle blocker and libero player are positioned in zone 5 to perform backcourt defense, and outside hitter performs backcourt defense from zone 6. These tasks in volleyball will be the reason and explanation for their change of direction patterns when they move on the court. For instance, we have some positions in offense and defense and movement through transition, not only to transition. From offense, performing, for example, spike, or from defense, performing block, we have a change of direction, but more frequently reactive agility. It has to be said that in no other team sport is there as much interdependence of players in scoring as is the case in volleyball. By performing their tasks through the organization of attack, defense, and transition in between, most of the time they're performing skills through reactive agility. Every skill besides serve in volleyball is not only reactive, then even more proactive. There is always a need in situational efficacy or game setting to implement perceptual and decision-making factors while performing simple change of direction speed. Training and testing of change of direction speed as a component of agility have a great importance in volleyball. Having in mind energetic requirements, type of force application, and number of change of directions from a great deal of variety in type and number of assessments that have been used to assess change of direction ability, it is proposed, based on the table 3 and their movement patterns by performing their tasks in the game, it is proposed that T-test, sprint 93639 meter forward backward, sprint 93639 meter with 180-degree turns, and Japan test are the best for utilization in volleyball. T-test is well-known test for change of direction speed. and it is broadly used not only in volleyball, it is used in many other sports. Sprint 9363 meter is, those numbers are actually distances displayed by volleyball court by which player run, and in two options we have forward, backward, and second one is with 180-degree turns. Both of these versions are important. For instance, forward, backward is important in terms that players have requirement at the court to be always, when it is possible, positioned face forward to the net. If we have that situation, player constantly moves forward, backward, on court, and this is the version that is proposed. And version with 180-degree turns is important because in various situations on the court, when ball is going outside the court and player needs to save the ball, he will face forward the ball at the net to be fast as possible. By doing so, he changes direction by 180-degree to the ball from the net, or specifically to direction that ball is directed to save the ball and continue the rally. Japan test is test that has been traditionally applied in volleyball, and it is test of change of direction speed that measures lateral shuffle by a distance of 4.5 meters that needs to be crossed by 5 times. Although change of direction speed tests may simulate the general movement patterns of match play, they don't offer a valid method of discriminating higher and lesser skilled players in contrast to reactive agility tests. On the other hand, reactive agility tests have their own limitations from light, video stimulus or human stimulus, and validity and reliability, but that is some other topic. Change of direction speed ability is an example of an isolated component of agility in which the movement and perception are decoupled, and therefore change of direction speed test can lack ecological validity. Pre-planned change of direction speed scenarios either do not occur in competition or are extremely rare. For example, attacking player may plan the direction they wish to run as well as an angle of cut, but when the athlete is faced with the defender in close proximity, the exact footwork and angle of cut can be variable depending on the situation. Likewise, a defender has to constantly scan the attacker's motion to react as quickly and accurately as possible. So, some consideration for future research directions are subsequent. Results from a change of direction speed test could be compared to results from the reactive agility test to determine the influence of perception and response time on total agility time. Sport-specific change of direction technique training provides a foundation for more complex agility skills in a periodized program and should be viewed in such a way. However, it is important that researchers seek to assess agility skill that can be demonstrated to be relevant to on-field performance. Thank you very much for your attention. For any inquiries or questions about this topic or other topics considering volleyball, I would be pleased to hear from you and please contact me at the official website from Faculty of Sport and Physical Education on Team Sport Department. Thank you very much for your attention and time.